I stormed to the class during recess. Guess I got lucky, even though at that point neither the teacher nor by all my classmates together would have stopped me. I dashed to Catherine and grabbed her hand firmly. We need to talk. I had no idea what it looked like because the entire surrounding world no longer mattered to me. Catherine seemed to be expecting it and wasn't even surprised. She obediently stood up and followed me, even though I was dragging her along like a dog. To the roof. I only hope that Kagome wasn't there. She is. You know she is. Fortunately, there was only the wind, dismally whining through the ventilation grates. Well, that's new. You're about to answer for everything, I shouted, having completely lost my mind. Yeah, see, this is not how I want this to go. This isn't a why the fuck didn't you tell me kind of moment. Like, no, fucking, if you want to talk it out, sure. Like, hey, talk to me. What the hell happened? I'd say he deserves at least a what the hell happened, right? But not the you're gonna fucking answer for everything. Like, easy there, Batman. Like, oh, Catherine, don't start crying. Catherine was standing there and looking at me like a martyr, expecting her execution. I can understand you ditching me, leaving without saying a word. I can understand your attitude now. In the end, it isn't really my business. It's yours. But the child, Katya, I'm not even going to say that line. My decision. Catherine screamed and her tears burst out of her eyes. You're going to blame me for getting pregnant from you? Of course not. I understand it was an accident. Do you think I wanted to? Or do you think I did it on purpose? I had a miscarriage. Ooh. Ooh. Fuck. Damn. Yeah, that's exactly why she's so sensitive about bringing it up. That's why it hurts her so fucking much. That's why she doesn't want to think about it. So now if I think back on it, she probably did want the kid. Miscarried. And that's probably hung around. She probably feels like she let Nikolai down that. Oh. 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 Catherine, sweetie. No. These words struck me like a lightning bolt. Why didn't I think of the most obvious explanation right away? As soon as Mom found out, she immediately flew me to the States. I couldn't refuse. I simply didn't know what to do. At that age, you have no right to blame me. Okay, yeah, no matter what had happened. Exactly. I wasn't in a condition to decide anything. Mom told me we were leaving, and we did. Mom told me not to communicate with you anymore, and I didn't. I was a little girl driven to a corner. What do you want from me? But in the end, I wrote you the letter anyway. And he didn't even read it. That bloody letter. And I thought that you knew everything and were blaming me for it. I was blaming myself. And then, when I realized you hadn't read it, I thought that I could keep this a secret forever. If you never found out, then maybe... Catherine was bawling. It was the first time I'd ever seen her like that. Turned inside out, her feelings exposed, without any secrets or mysteries. So... barely managed to say, You wanted to keep the child? Yes, she exclaimed. I was too scared, didn't know what to do when my mother took me away from Japan. I'm sorry, but I didn't have the strength to go against her. That's kind of what I figured. Her mom found out and decided things for herself. In the States, I managed to get myself together, but it was too late. I was looking at Katya with each second feeling more and more pathetic, as you fucking should. But how did you know that I hadn't read the letter? The envelope was sealed. But if you knew I hadn't read the letter, you could have just told me. I was afraid, understand? I lived with the thought that you hated me for so long. When I didn't get a response from you, and when I returned to Japan, I didn't know how to behave. And that also explains why she was so cold to him, like, right away at the beginning of the story. Because she assumed that he knew. She assumed that whenever he tried to talk with her, it was about that. She assumed he was constantly going to bring up that. So of course the letter seemed like, this feeling of relief. Oh, he never read the letter. It was load off her mind, and it was something she didn't want to bring up because obviously it was something incredibly traumatic for her. It was a child she wanted and she lost. And then I started to hope that I could leave it all in the past. I even managed to convince myself that it was for the better. You didn't have to know that it was fate and nobody's fault. That we were finally given a second chance to start again, not looking back. But then I have to think, there was something with Himitsu then. Clearly, okay, it wasn't as far-fetched as Himitsu caused them to move, right? It was Catherine's pregnancy that made Ms. Winter say, okay, not only can you not see the boy, I'm going to make sure you can't see that boy, and taking her away. I get that. Sure. But there was something with Himitsu. There's a reason Catherine has this deep-seated hatred for Himitsu. There's a reason. And that's how it would have been, if not for Himitsu. What is better? To live in ignorance or suffering knowing the truth? I feel like it's something he deserved to know for sure, and clearly she felt the same by writing him that letter. Clearly she wasn't trying to, she wanted him to know. Clearly she felt like at some point she felt like he deserved to know, and when she found out that even after all this time he hadn't read the letter, she thought she could save him from the pain of knowing. I don't think that was quite the right move. I think after you found out he hadn't read the letter, you could have come clean about it. But also I see it, I can't imagine how much of a difficult topic that is to talk about, especially when you're the one who went through that. Like, I can only imagine how fucking traumatic a miscarriage is. I can only fucking imagine, right? I'm a fucking dude. I'll never know how traumatic that could possibly be. But, god damn, I still feel like it would have been better to address it than just leave it in the past and forget it ever happened. I am maybe, and I could understand, like, maybe years down the road you tell him, right? Maybe that's your whole thing. Like, once you feel like it's really behind you and you've really moved on from it, because like she said, it's only been, a year and some change. Which, if you consider it, she had a miscarriage, not an abortion, which means she carried the baby to term. Right? If I let me understand. No, a sec. I'm not too man enough to where I won't do a goggle. Miscarriage doesn't necessarily mean before the 20th week. Okay, so it's actually early on. Okay. So it's not, so miscarriage isn't near. I'm thinking of stillbirth. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a stillbirth. That's what I was thinking of. Miscarriage. That's early on in the pregnancy, but still before the 20th week, which that's prior to like within the first 4 months. No, within the first 5 months, 4 weeks in a month. Within the first 5 months. So even then, she could have carried it for like 4 months, and then it happened. So even still, like, it could potentially be just barely a year since since it even happened. So that's the point I'm getting at, is like, it's still a fresh wound for her, both mentally and literally. It's still a very fresh, trauma that she's dealing with. Only a year has passed, right? And with something that intense, like losing a child you wanted to have, like, there's no way a year would be enough time to really move on from that to where you'd be comfortable talking about it. I get it. Do I think addressing it right away would have been the better choice? Yes, but do I see that there's definitely factors at play that would hinder you from doing that? Absolutely. Right now, I couldn't answer this question. In any case, it wasn't enough for her to just spy on me. Instead, she decided to take her revenge. Yeah, who's the real bitch here? Who is the real bitch? Revenge for what? But how did she learn about Catherine's pregnancy in the first place? Probably her dad's files. Because we learned during the last route that that Himitsu's dad had like files on just about everyone. So I'm sure there's some things in there. Why did Himitsu know? Catherine somewhat calmed down and wiped her tears. When I realized I was pregnant, I was afraid. Oh. Himitsu, you bitch. She looked at Himitsu as a friend. She went to her as a friend and told her, and Himitsu, in a fit of jealousy, fucked her over in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what. Oh, I'm gonna start swinging. I'm gonna fucking start swinging. When I realized I was pregnant, I was afraid to tell you right away, much less my mom. It was unbearable to go through all that alone, to keep it all inside. I didn't know who else to talk to. I had no one except you. Then I thought that your friend would understand me, as a woman. But she heard me out, gave me some support, and then immediately told my mom about everything. So I wasn't wrong. Himitsu led to Catherine's departure. Himitsu is the one who leaked everything to her mom, and her mom got her the fuck out of there. Did Himitsu intend for her to get moved out of the country? Probably not the case, but she fucking is the reason for her departure when it happened. She is the reason Catherine never had a chance to talk about this with Nikolai. Because Catherine didn't go to her mother right away. She confided in Himitsu as a friend, thinking she would understand. And Himitsu, you absolute bitch. Holy fuck. This is what I told y'all would happen. This is what I told y'all. This is what I fucking told y'all would happen. The biggest 180 you ever seen. Oh, baby. I fucking called it, and I'll fucking say it right now. Himitsu can fucking rot in the lowest pits of hell. Catherine is a fucking angel. Like I said, I've never had a problem with Catherine from the jump. I was a little bit, Nikolai's obsession, it fucking gets a bit much to handle at times. But I never had a problem with Catherine. And this whole route, everything revolving Catherine. Nah. Catherine ain't deserve this. Catherine ain't deserve this. Oh. See, that's the thing. Himitsu, she acts all sweet and kind and whatnot. See, I knew it. I knew there was going to be a character like that. Because, like I said, Soviet games, they did it with Lena in Everlasting Summer. There's that one character. At first, she just seems like she's fitting, whatever trope she's filling in for. But there's more to her than that. Which, was true with Kagome as well. Like, she was fitting her trope. There's a bit more to her. But, Himitsu. She played the crazy bitch. The vengeful, spiteful bitch. Honestly, probably the only reason she didn't fuck over Kagome in a serious manner is because she didn't have the dirt on Kagome that she did on Catherine, right? Because Catherine, they had been together for years. She'd been a big part of Nikolai's life, so I'm sure, her father's got all these files on her. And like I said, and like we just found out, she didn't learn this from her files. She learned this because Catherine confided her as a fucking friend, which is the worst part. That's the part that just, fucking really. The fact that Catherine was able to fucking look past, like, the rivalry of, like, I know you want him too, but, like, help me as a woman, and, like, as a friend, just, bearing her soul to Himitsu like that. confides in her. This serious shit, and all Himitsu can do is use it as ammunition to fucking sabotage her. Oh. Oh. Fucking ruthless bitch. Which now I want to go back. I want to go back to the ending. Not the ending, but like towards the end. I need to rewatch this. Towards the end of Himitsu's route, when you have the final confrontation with Catherine, the whole thing that made me, want to look into Catherine's route even more, right? That whole final interaction where Catherine just snaps the way she did. Because Nikolai says something like, "Oh yeah, Himitsu told me everything." And I think that's what he says, and that's when Catherine snaps the way she does, because she assumes that Himitsu told her about what happened with Catherine. And she assumes that even after learning about that Nikolai has learned about what Himitsu has done to sabotage Catherine, that he still picks Himitsu over her, and I think that's why she snaps as severely as she does. Oh my god. But see, that's the thing. This whole time, I've been waiting for this moment, right? I've been waiting for this moment where I find out that Himitsu has been this absolute rotten bitch this whole time. Ever since that fucking interaction, like I said, I've been expecting it. But I was not expecting this. This is just the biggest thing for me right here. The fact that Catherine bared her soul and confided in Himitsu, was willing to fucking bury the hatchet, say, "Hey, regardless of whatever's between us, help me as a woman, understand me, let's come to terms about this." And Himitsu uses it as ammunition against her and ultimately gets her fucking sent out of the country. Maybe that wasn't Himitsu's intent, but the fact that her actions directly led to that. Because that's the thing. Himitsu was the only other person to know about it. If Nikolai had known, would things have turned out differently? I don't know. Mrs. Winters is a very stubborn woman. A very persistent woman who likes to get what she wants. So, would things have turned out differently? No, but things would have definitely turned out differently for Himitsu, right? Oh. God, I'm excited to see where this route goes. Because we're only at the tip of the iceberg, right? This is fucking major bombshells we're getting dropped on right away. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. There's definitely more to this route. There's no way we're near the end. No chance. I can't wait to see where this goes. Himitsu. I didn't know, and I couldn't have known that she was such a two-faced bitch. I even considered her a friend to some extent. Exactly. Oh. And fuck it. Oh, Himitsu. Fucking, you think back to the fight that Nikolai overhears in the hall during like the common route of everything, about Himitsu being like, "After everything you did to him," like, Catherine didn't do shit to him. Catherine never did a damn thing to him. The pain he felt at Catherine leaving was Himitsu's fault. And the fact that Himitsu tries to turn around and blame that on her. Himitsu's the fucking devil. Naturally, I knew that she loved you too. But she didn't do anyone good with that. Couldn't say a thing. Catherine's tearful revelation left no space for anything else in my heart. Felt as though I was witnessing all the pain together with her all over again. So what do you say? Still want to love this me? If you don't say yes, I'm going to fucking lose my shit. Catherine made a little smile. What can I say? My entire world fell apart yesterday. I've never really thought seriously that we could have children. I would have never refused a baby. And I still love you no matter what. Yes. You're so childish and idealistic. Although I'm not any better. Two cripples have found each other. She smirked. The usual Catherine was before me once again. Give me a CG where they hug it out. It's hard for me to accept all that. Just half an hour ago, I thought... I mean, I'm sorry. I sighed and sat down heavily on the bench. How'd you even manage to go to school today? I just didn't want to be at home alone. Not with my mother. But she cares about you. If she managed to take you away so quickly back then... No. No. She just did what she thought was right. Nothing to do with caring. Yeah, exactly. She thinks she knows what's best for her daughter. And... to some extent, alright, I don't necessarily disagree with her thought I don't disagree with her thought process. Do I agree with the actions her mother made? No. Do I agree with her thought process of thinking my teenage daughter getting pregnant and having a child right now is not what's best for her? Yes. I agree very strongly with that thought process. For sure. Because even I was talking about it earlier when Nikolai was, losing his shit about, Catherine potentially having an abortion. Do I feel like that do I understand her thinking? Yes. But making her actions, taking acts, not factoring in the way her daughter feels about this at all, no, that's not the way to go. Being heavy-handed like that and not see, once again, it comes back to the body choice argument. And I know there's is that why she went to the States? Is that why she went to the States? Because I'm pretty sure in the States, if a minor is pregnant, it's more so up to the parent to decide that. I'm pretty sure the parent gets final say over that. The kid can say one thing, but ultimately if a parent says otherwise, they can go through with that. Which, once again, the child didn't get aborted. That's not the point. So then obviously... Okay, so if Mrs. Winters had no plans to abort the child, why move to the States? Well, I guess, yes, to get her child away from Nikolai, to try to drive a wedge in between them, of course. But yeah, ultimately, I've been ranting long enough. I don't feel like her actions truly had anything to do with caring for her daughter. She must have had to explain a sudden exit like that to her bosses, considering the specificity of her job. Maybe you're right. Catherine smiled sadly. I wanted her to sit next to me and to hug her, but she kept standing, shielding me from the cold autumn wind. I sighed again and tried to collect my thoughts. Too many questions required immediate answers. When did the miscarriage happen? My belly hadn't grown yet, so very early on. Would it influence... Well, I heard that. Seeing my embarrassed, Katya finished for me. The ability to have children in the future? Yes. I barely managed to reply. I don't know. Do you want to find out? I was always surprised by how she could be ironic in even the most serious situations. It must have been a defensive reaction, like quills for a porcupine. You could have told me. We could have found a solution together. She finally shivered and sat down. We were separated by just half a meter. It seemed to me that Catherine was very far away, on the other side of the ocean of suffering she had to endure alone for the past year and a half. Maybe. I've run through this scenario in my head so many times, it's hard to tell reality from my dreams. I only look strong, you know. She laughed quietly and immediately sobbed. No, Catherine. In reality, I'm a coward, and immediately feel lost as soon as things start going sour and I need to make a decision. Telling me all that takes courage, too. I tried to cheer her up. Courage that I had to spend a year and a half gathering? That's nothing impressive. Have you really been beating yourself up all this time, just like me? Catherine didn't respond. Sorry, it's just hard to think that everything could have been so different, but wasn't. Just because someone didn't say the right words. See? Now you're blaming me. No, not at all. I started waving my hands in refusal. I'm talking about myself. I could have been more persistent and not let you go. I don't know. I could have done something differently. All these what-ifs will drive you into a dead end. I know. So, what next? A long silence hung in the air. I could hear children playing football in the playground, cars rattling busily down the street as they drove their owners to attend some undoubtedly important businesses, and the wind warily blowing in the sky. You lost the endless transmission lines. Many families don't survive losing a child, so where did that leave us? Our relationship, this entire game of eternal love right out of heaven on my side, was it even worth it? Was that important who really was to blame if both of us kept suffering? I will understand if this is our last conversation. Last conversation? Catherine looked at me with confusion in her eyes. I'm grateful you told me all this, of course, but I understand that it's hard for you to see me, I swallowed. You know, I didn't think I would ever return to Japan. I didn't even want to. I was sure you hated me. If not for Mom, if you had read that letter... Fate's waved a strange web here. Weaved. She was fiddling with the edge of her skirt. You know, I don't believe in fate. Call it what you will. It's not just because of us that things turned out like this. I'm still sure we're the ones who define our fate. I wish I had your confidence. There's nothing difficult about it. In fact, it's stupid to believe in something blindly, ignoring everyone and everything in the process, even the most obvious things. So what do you believe in now? I lowered my eyes and noticed a bug slowly running across the concrete. If I hadn't paid attention to it at that moment, I could have crushed the innocent insect a second later. And then, for him, would this death become the decree of fate, or just an unlucky coincidence? What was the difference, anyway? I want to believe that nobody's to blame for what happened. I mean... I can understand being like, I don't want to blame your mom, I don't want to blame you, I don't want to blame me. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, hey, you should definitely be pissed at Himitsu. Don't forget what that bitch has done. Don't forget what that bitch has done. Just in the hopes that she could land you. Don't forget what that bitch has done. And then the moment you make it obvious she can't land you, she goes and fucking creates this massive rift between like, don't forget what that bitch has done. Don't let that bitch slide away scot-free. Don't let her slide away without fucking throwing some fucking shade on her, alright? Because she deserves that. I want to believe that we can both live with it. I just want to believe in something better, even if it's a childish dream. That we're fated. I smirked. It's so weird. I was denying fate, now I'm saying fated. Whatever. I want to believe that we are fated to be together. And, you know, now I love you even more than before. My man, that's exactly what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's the right move, my guy. That's the right move, my guy. Even if it sounds silly and... No, it's not silly at all. Catherine interrupted me passionately and took me by the hand. If you didn't say things like that, we wouldn't be sitting here. Well, words are just wind. Not when they come from the heart. I looked at Catherine. Couldn't understand her metamorphosis. I'd expect to hear something like that from Himitsu. But you were right when you said we were nothing like Romeo and Juliet. She immediately grew gloomy. My mom... Let's not talk about this now. There's only one thing that matters to me. I squeezed her hand tighter, but Catherine looked away. I still need time. Yes, of course, I replied, and immediately scolded myself for the traces of annoyance that appeared in my voice. You know where to find me. The bell rang, announcing the beginning of a break. Catherine stood up, seeming livelier, straightened her skirt with a casual gesture, and smiled. See you. I was left alone with the wind, who, if it was a human, would definitely be wearing a gray suit.